All right. My name is Elijah White. I am a student here in Management 4302 at the Maryland Davis College of Business, and this is my personal SWOT analysis. Let's get into it. All right. So, a little bit about myself, right? I'm Elijah White. I am a senior marketing major at the University of Houston downtown, where I focus on mastering strategies in digital marketing and marketing analytics. I plan on going into a niche of the more quantitative side of marketing, um, with a focus of bridging creativity with analysis to help drive brand success and brand diversity. My strengths and weaknesses, right? So we're going to start with the strength column. Dependability. I pride myself on being there when it matters and just being there in general, especially for the people and for the things that I care about the most, right? Um, and this was instilled within me from a very young age. I was lucky to have both of my parents present in my life, and them just being there and being rocks to lean on taught me the value and being someone that other people can count on, whether it's work related or within the relationships of your life. Next, I would say being a planner is a huge strength for me. But as you can see, as I explain my weaknesses, it's kind of a double edged sword. But first, for the strengths, I'm a sucker, or better yet, I'm a stickler for structure. I need structure when it comes to goals because I believe without a drawn out plan, you can't feasibly reach your goals because you can't see what's in front of you. You can't see the opportunities, right? But you also can't see the threats. You can't see the barriers that are in the way without a plan. Just like if you don't know where you're going and you don't set a GPS, I mean, how can you really get where you're going without guessing? And even if you do get there, you're probably not going to get there in the most efficient way. So, planning and being a planner, I think, is a huge strength for me. And lastly, um, empathy, which I think is one of the greatest strengths a person can have, no matter what your field is. If you're talking to, if you ever interact with a person, empathy is one of the biggest strengths that you as a person can have. And I think it's one of my biggest strengths because as humans, within a society that's built around emotions and just being emotional creatures, being able to recognize those emotions and correlate them to yourself and how you would feel in a certain situation, I think it makes decision making way more efficient. And not only does it make it more efficient, I think it makes it more effective because it's as simple as, hey, would I like XYZ done to me? Yes, no. All right. If yes, continue here. If no, continue this way. So empathy, man, it's huge. And it's so much more than just, if this person's sad, feeling sad for them. It's how would I feel if this is done to me, and so on and so forth. So going on to the weakness side, perfectionism. This kind of ties into the planner strength. This is the other side of the sword here, where perfectionism. I'm not one of those people that's like it's got to be everything's got to be lined up. I like neatness, but it's more so if a barrier arises and it's something that wasn't accounted for, what I tend to do is I'll go back to the beginning, kind of reevaluate the whole plan. And if I run into enough barriers and it isn't the the end goal isn't exactly how I envisioned it, I might just scratch the whole thing if it doesn't feel like it's worth my time to figure out everything. Right? I feel like that's a form of perfectionism. Next after that is not driven, if not interested. I feel like everybody can kind of relate to that. But me specifically, it's a weakness because, again, kind of a double edged sword. If I am really interested in a thing, I may even overdevelop in places where I shouldn't, right? So, say for instance, if I took this SWOT analysis that I am very interested in, but I just went crazy with it, put way too much time into it, and maybe missed a deadline because I was just messing around too much, that could be a problem. And on the flip side of that, maybe I'm not interested and maybe I'm only going the bare minimum, right? And a lot of times that is the case. Um, I'm not completely interested, so I do just enough to skate and, move on from there. But from that, the last point being delegation, and this one is one that I really had to reflect on because I'm not to be prideful, but I didn't see a lot of weaknesses, if you know what I mean. But delegation was one that came up, and I kind of realized that um, when there's a task and I don't completely trust the people that are put on the task, I won't put them on the task. And how that is a weakness is because, well, this thing is still got to get done. And what ends up happening is I'll just take it on, and now I have extra stress on my shoulders that maybe shouldn't be there. And that could potentially cause whatever project I'm working on to suffer because what realistically would take 4 people to do is now put on my shoulder, or maybe I'm taking on the load of 3 other people and still partnering, or 2 other people and still partnering with 1, but still doing more work than I should, and, that could potentially hurt the overall project. So, from there, onto opportunities and threats. One huge opportunity that I think all people my age have, no matter where you are in life, is your youth. I'm 22, so understanding that though you don't want to make, of course, you don't want to go into things with the intention of making mistakes, but I do think having that outlook of, it's okay to mess up. Firstly, because you grow through mistakes, but understanding that, hey, when you do mess up, it's not the end of the world because let's say I make a business, or I make a deal, make a business deal. I'm 24. I'm not 24 now, but when I am 24, I make a business deal and it goes bad. Well, guess what? In 2 years, after I've had time to recover, I'm only 26. So, using that time, while you still have it, to make decisions that maybe you can't really afford when you're 40, 45, 50, right? Because you just don't have enough time to really recover from it in the later years of your life. So after that, diversifying my skill set, and you can see after that one, it's selecting a niche. So we'll get into those two. Um, Touching everything and getting my foot in the door as far as learning new skills, especially career-based skills, is a huge opportunity for me. Not only for the sake of landing jobs, but just for the sake of knowledge in my field, because you'll come to see that one of my long-term goals is a pretty lofty one, and I think this is the initial starting point for that goal. And then lastly, for opportunities, selecting a niche, um, which is kind of the other avenue of diversing skill set, going hard, right? And just really drilling and learning one specific skill, or like a very closely intertwined set of skills that deal with one another, is another opportunity that I face. Like I said, I really like the quantitative side of marketing, or better yet, I'm gonna learn to like it, but I understand the value in it and what it can bring to companies, especially now in this climate where data is more prevalent and more needed and more looked at than ever. So onto the threats, a competitive job market, right? Marketing, though it is a vast field, is very competitive. I think the fact that it is a varied field makes it competitive because there's just so many different things that fall under the same name. Um, and if you overlook that, you can be left high and dry. So, competitive job market, ever changing economic climate. I don't know what the gas looks like by your house, but right now my gas is like 350, 352. Or no, not 352, 252. When if you look like 6 months ago, it was like 360, 70, around a scary point of 4. And that just goes to say that's something that's really easy to track. But I mean, man, the ever changing economic climate is always going to be a threat. The ebbs and flow of the economy. You can see it in politics. You can see it in your gas. You can see it in almost everything, man. Inflation. I can go on and on. And then last, procrastination. Um, I'm sure anybody can relate to that as a threat. If you let it get to a point to where it is a sickness, it can really badly hinder your life. Not just in a academic place, but just day to day. I mean, just doing the things that you know you need to do and putting them off to a point. So now it's stressful and you're getting gray hairs over simple stuff is just like getting your oil changed or something like that, man. So staying on top of those things is is valuable, and it can be a threat if overlooked. Short term goals, running really tight on time, so I'm gonna blow through these. But finishing my senior year strong, just keep my GPA up and continuing as I have been, building a personal brand. So that's LinkedIn, but mostly I meant it in more of a portfolio type of way. And just making myself, my brand, my skills known and clear to potential employers, right? And expanding my network, right? Getting my foot in the door and sticking my foot as in as many doors as I possibly can. My midterm goal. So this is like within the next year or two. Well, we're gonna say next year at least. Landing a full time marketing role within a company, more so for the sake of just growing my current skills and expertise and learning as much as I can within a practical setting. Right, school is great, but I think where the most potential to learn is hands on doing the thing that you want to do, right? So that is my midterm goal. Long term, now this is the big goal is to become a marketing director or vice president of marketing, some kind of leadership role within the company or within a company. Um, and I think just being in a role, because I really like the simulations, and I didn't realize that I was the CEO of whatever business, but I actually really like that I had my hands in so many things. And I don't think I want to be a CEO, but I think being a marketing director or vice president allows me that same kind of delegation without necessarily being the head of the thing. But maybe in the future, maybe I might want to be a CEO. Who knows? But for right now, that is my goal. Um, Financial freedom, achieving that is also a huge thing, as well as maintaining a balanced lifestyle within all of it, right? So from short term to long term, that is a overarching goal, because only through balancing work and passions can you actually be effective in both things. So to conclude, um, I feel very confident and I feel in the path that I'm in, and building that solid foundation in the things that I'm specializing in, and just marketing in general. Um, that is where I feel the most confident. My strengths being what they are, my weaknesses being what they are, opportunities and threats, and finding a balance between all of those things, work, life, career, and my passions. So, for looking further ahead, right? Of course, I do hope within the next coming years to become a senior marketing director, or some sort of leadership position would be a goal completed. Um, Focusing on the data driven aspects of marketing, and with a huge importance of managing my time wisely. I'm ready for the growth, and with a clear vision, I'm ready to take on the opportunities that are ahead. So, with that, way over time, but just want to say thank you. This was a great project, great, great way to reflect on myself and my goals. Because honestly, that's something that I feel like we take for granted a lot. But thank you. Gonna get this submitted.